Hey guys, this is 1.5 and we're going to be working on translating words to algebra. So this is going to be very important that we're able to recognize certain words that'll give us clues as to how to set up our equations when we're solving word problems. So a lot of these words you've seen before, so if we look at addition, we've got words like plus and sum, but then there's some that are less familiar, like exceeded, which means we go above a number, or increase by. All those are addition words, meaning we're going to use a plus sign. Take a look at those subtraction words. Again, we're familiar with a lot of them. Some of them are tricky, like diminished by, reduced by. Here's some division words. Some multiplication words. Parentheses words, so these are a little different, but it just means we're using parentheses. So if it's something times the quantity, the number of things or the quantity of those things will be in parentheses. If it's times the sum, that it means we're going to be adding in parentheses, and we'll have a variable outside. Times the difference means we'll have subtraction in parentheses and a variable outside. You may also see some powers, which would be like squared or square of, cubed, anything like that. The really tricky ones that I want you to pay special attention to are what we call turnaround phrases. So anytime you see less than, more than, or subtracted from. So I'll give you some examples of those. So let's say that the problem said 8 less than a number. That should say a number. So that means that we're going to turn that around. So if it was 8 less than x, I would flip it around, and instead of saying 8 minus x, I would turn it around and it'd be x minus 8, because it is 8 less than that number, so that number has to come first. Another example would be r subtracted from 9. You're not going to write it as you read it. You're going to have to turn it around and do 9 minus r, because r is what is being subtracted. So those turnaround phrases can be tricky. But let's do a couple examples. So translate each expression or equation. So number 1 says the product of a number and 3. Anytime it says a number, that means we're working with a variable. So you can pick any letter. I usually just pick x. And if you remember, product was one of our multiplication words. So we're going to say the product of a number and 3. So that's going to be 3 times x, or x times 3, or 3 times n, whatever letter you choose. 2 says the difference between a number and 10. So difference was one of our subtraction words. We have a number, so we're going to have a variable. And so that means we're going to be subtracting 10 from a number. So we're going to say x minus 10. 3, the quotient of a number and negative 5. So that means we are dividing. So I'm going to say x divided by that number of negative 5. 4 is one of those turnaround phrases. So 4 subtracted from a number. So we're going to just say that a number is x, and we're going to turn that around. So we're going to say x minus 4 is going to be our expression for that one. Number 5, the sum of twice a number and 7. So sum tells us that we're going to be adding. I'm going to go ahead and put my plus sign there. And we're adding twice a number. So twice was one of our multiplication words. It means we're going to double it. So it's going to be 2 times that number. That number we're just calling x. And 7. So we're adding it together. You always want to break it down, see what operations are involved, and then add your numbers. Number 6, the product, meaning we're going to multiply, of a number, which is going to be x, and 10. So the product of a number and 10, so that would be 10 times x. Increased, remember increased was one of our addition words, by 1. So we're going to add 1 to the product of a number and 10. So those are a couple examples. We'll get lots of practice with these, but make sure you guys are familiar with your algebra words.